Welcome everybody to our first meeting with our new council. We got all the formalities out of the way. So we'd like to start off by, we'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson's Superior Treaty Territory and that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda. Can we have approval of the agenda? Everybody's good with the agenda? Any disclosures of interest? Hearing none, we'll get right into the meeting with unfinished business. Resolution 307-22, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council authorize the write-off of property taxes in the amount of $4,422.97 for the following property tax credits. Roll number 5851-000. 00209800, 5851-00000315004, 5851-00000315005, and 5851-00000333700. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 308-22, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that council renew the North of Superior Travel Association LSCD Canadian Advertising Program for the year 2023 in the amount of $500 excluding applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 309-22, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor McGrath. The Council of the Township of Schreiber support the resolution of the Township of Dorian with respect to the OMAFRA Ontario Wildlife Damage Compensation Program administrative fees. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 310-22, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council accept the quotation from Breeze Bakery and Catering Incorporated in the amount of $48 per person excluding applicable taxes to provide dinner for the 2022 Township Christmas Social. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to other business. First up is the Director of Operations report. status report.
I have a question on the TBT engineering letter.
Yep.
And I understand that the contractor wasn't paid, and they didn't participate in the site inspection. Was there any communication with them, like why did they not participate?
Yeah, the foreman for RML was there, and Andrew was on the phone when we were having discussions, and Bruno just got out of surgery, so he wasn't there.
Okay, so personal, good personal reason why
Yeah.
he wasn't there, but they're certainly interested in
The report is definitely in our favor to support what we need.
Yeah.
So we'll proceed with the conversation now to determine at what level we can move forward with.
Yeah, I'm sure they wanna get paid, so.
To some degree,
Yeah,
yeah.
alright.
So we just have to agree on that.
Yeah, for sure, okay.
Okay, and on this aqua report, can you bring us up to date on that?
Yeah, so I heard from Patrick Albert today, from Aqua, and he tells me that a technician was on site and has been troubleshooting the problem. He's determined that it was dirty power, which kind of go hand in hand with what's going on down there as far as the electrical upgrades. So both blowers currently are operational and running with no issues at this point.
So Tammy, then all we're going to be out is just the site visit amount?
Yes, I believe so. I won't know that for sure until they send their expenditure request, but he gave me the heads up, so I would think that that would probably come to us.
And for interest's sake, Aqua, you are below budget, at budget, or over budget this year?
With Aqua, I think we're at budget.
Perfect, okay.
That would be a question for Marlene though.
Okay.
Okay,
The municipal complex? I understand that there, where you're talking here, Superior Propane's going to be in here on Monday, to trench that line. That got done?
Public Works trenched the
Trenched
line
it?
on Monday.
Okay,
Superior Propane was supposed to deliver the tank today. They did not show up. So I will call them tomorrow to find out what's going on there. Plow Darling arrived on site yesterday around noon. They will work 7 to 7, 12-hour days, Monday to Thursday for the next 4 weeks. And they anticipate completion by December 8th,
okay.
barring any issues.
And you've made arrangements for heat in the meantime,
Yes,
okay?
yeah.
And will there be a need for the, like, staff to have to vacate the building at any point?
When we do the switchover, there is a possibility that we will have to work from home for 2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days.
We'll see what the temperatures are outside and if we can maintain the building with our electric heaters. But we will be and he said that he might be able to get one of the boilers going before he shuts off the oil boiler that we're replacing. So there is a possibility we can stay. It just depends on how the workflow goes.
Okay.
okay. Pretty good. Move on to number 2. Director of Operations report, Schreiber Terrace Bay Figure Skating Club. Use of the concession request.
The staff recommendation here that the Schreiber Terrace Bay Figure Skating Club negotiate for the lease of the concession booth and equipment with Township administration.
So in conversations with the president of the figure skating club, I don't know if we need to go any further with this. I think they have no intention of leasing and paying to use a concession, and they've come up with other options that are working well for them, which are more cost effective for them as well. So So I think this is just kind of a done deal now.
So they have no intention of trying to lease that space?
I don't believe they are going to. If it's gonna cost them money, then it's not gonna work for them financially. It doesn't make sense, right?
Okay.
I mean, you're more than welcome to reach out still, Tammy, but I think it's probably a waste of time at this point. And they're good doing what they're doing. They have other ways to raise money that they've already done, and it's all good.
And, you know, should they change their mind, or anyone else
Yeah.
wants to approach us again to look at running that concession, we will be happy to hear what proposal they have, but the best process is that we negotiate that contract for that concession. Okay?
Okay, number 3, Director of Operations report, grant made for the Lake Superior High School dance.
In 2021, a similar application was submitted where council approved the grant and aid for the use of the hall at $304.70, which was the basic rate for half day. This year, it's a staff recommendation that council deny this application.
So I don't agree with that. I think we should be, if a school group wants to use it and it's for a school activity and there's members of Schreiber in this school and it's a local high school, I think they should. There's money in the budget for the grant and aid, I think they should get it.
Was there a problem in the past with providing this grant and aid? Was there any repercussions for the municipality? Was there any problems with, with underage drinking or anything along that line?
I think what they've done in the past is give us a list of the chaperones that are gonna be there that night.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion is we're trying to move into be fiscally responsible, and I mean, I'm not gonna say that we want 100%, but I would I mean, and I believe that's what we did in 21. We went with half of the rental, and if we're gonna change the policy, we gotta roll up our sleeves and change the policy. But I'm good with half of the rental for this year, and telling them that we are gonna be changing the policy.
Yeah, and the fact that they have to provide their own chaperones.
Well, they have to definitely.
They have to do that anyways.
Is it half full or nothing? Like, could there be an agreement that they try to do something to raise a portion of the money? I mean, I don't think anything should be given away for free, and if there's an effort made, then I think it would be, you know, fair to say, listen, you guys, you made an honest effort, give us what you got, and have it, you know, like.
So I guess then though, I mean, there's members of Terrace Bay Schreiber people on the figure skating club. There's members of Terrace Bay Schreiber on the minor hockey teams. We're just gonna say no to all of them because they have members not in our town. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's $304. We have whatever left in that grant and aid that's not gonna get used by the end of, in the next month and a half.
Yeah, we don't know that for sure.
I mean, the grant and aid policy, in the analysis, they say the grant and aid policy needs to be examined. I agree. The grant and aid policy does need to be examined. But I think until we get this policy changed, we are bound by how we've approved them before. And in the letter, she states that we actually supported 2 dances last year. To me, that sets precedent.
Yeah.
So if you've got a current policy, and from what I can read, developing a sense of community, promoting citizen participation and volunteerism, and responding to communities' needs and interests, I think their application hits it. Until we change this policy, I don't see any reason to deny them.
And ultimately, we should be happy they're choosing Schreiber. They could be asking Terrace Bay to use the Michael King Hall, and I'd rather have our kids in Schreiber,
Yeah.
you know?
But if in the past, if that's what we did, is there any thought, is that confirmed, that's what we've done the last 2 times for them, is give them half?
Can you answer that?
I'm gonna say there's nothing in here that says that, as far as I can see, that we've done half of the prom. I'm only looking at, in 21, there was a resolution passed for the Christmas dance, however, it was canceled because of COVID.
But the
that-
resolution was half.
The resolution was passed, so that was $344.31.
A half a day rate.
Half a day rate.
Yeah. They don't, kids
Oh,
don't
that's
have
what
to-
you mean by half,
Yeah,
I was
that-
thinking it was half of the full rental,
No,
I'm going, I
no.
don't think we did that, but.
No, cause they don't need the full rental, they just need a half a day rate.
Well, and the rental would be non-alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is the contract is signed by an adult, right? The contract itself is signed by an adult, cause it has to be an adult that enters into any kind of agreement. They're taking responsibility for the rental, cause they still have to sign that, even if you do a grant and aid. It's their responsibility if there's alcohol on site that there shouldn't be, if that's a concern. So, yeah, in 2021, it was approved, but the dance was canceled because of COVID. There was nothing in 2020. In 2019, they didn't ask for anything, there wasn't a grant and aid. I don't know what happened that year, and there wasn't anything in 2018 either.
And Marlene, am I correct in saying that there is $1,739 left in the grant and aid budget?
Is that what I emailed out? Yeah, then
Yeah.
yes, that's correct, because I did double check that today. Yeah, $1,739.97.
Okay.
So for 2022, council budgeted $3,000 in the grant and aid line of the budget, and to date, $1,260.03 have been awarded. One of which was $500.67 for the prom.
I'm okay with the request as long as we know that it's gonna be a chaperone event. That they will provide us with a guarantee that it's gonna be chaperoned.
And they did that in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
I think the most important takeaways from this discussion is that we want to review again that grant and aid application, and again, from the perspective of the staff report, right, it's more or less stating that we do give things for free, but it does have that expense associated with it, and again, we need to make sure, even for any events or rentals, that wherever we can, we do request insurance or add the town as an additional insurer. So there are some best practices that we will take a look at for our rental policies, and at the same time, we have to weigh in again the total costs also associated, so that nothing becomes too expensive for people to rent. I know that that may also prove to be a challenge too, is specifically if we do look into very expensive policies. Now they're requesting that people get renter's insurance up to $5 million liability coverage, right? So I don't know what the cost would be for that one event, so we'll be doing some research into that to see that.
But not every grant and aid is a request for rental either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm okay with it, I mean, moving ahead, and if we're gonna change the policy, let's change the policy.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, trying to recoup, not to profit, but trying to recoup our costs. And, we can't keep giving everything away all the time, cause, it contributes to the tax hike, and, we get raked over the coals for that, and, we gotta be fiscally responsible for doing the rent, and, but I'm okay with it this year, I'm not gonna accept, that's all I'm saying.
But in the future, you're right, that policy needs to be looked at.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, so, we're okay with that then?
Yep.
Consensus?
Okay.
And it's a half-day rental that they're requesting?
No, we're required, they can have it, and, we'll go ahead and, we're gonna do up the policy, we'll do up the policy, and,
No, but like, what's their, is it the request a half-day rate, Marlene? Are they requesting that or?
Well, they have, what amount of funding are you requesting? They say nothing.
They
So the-
probably,
the
I
application
think
is-
they probably meant that they don't want to give, like, they, yeah, I think they misread that question, obviously, right?
Yeah, but I would say that if they're, I would think that they're
Yeah, it says
doing a
1 day
full-
use of the rec hall, sorry, right underneath.
I would think that they're gonna wanna decorate.
Yeah, so I mean, if you give them half a day, if they only need a half a day for prom, then that should be fine with half a day for this. I'm not speaking for them, but.
Well, that's clear, right?
yeah,
They wrote 1 day use of the rec hall, so that's not $304, but that's all.
That's the problem with the grant and the aids, is that they'll ask for, you know, the time in the hall for that event, but then that grows as the time gets closer. We need in the day before, you know, the requests keep coming.
Well, if it's on the 2nd, they should all technically be in school, so.
Okay, but again, right, that's the reason to
Yeah.
address the policy, so sorry, if not monetary, what service? 1 day use of rec hall for dance.
Tell them they can come in at noon and give them the half day rate.
I think it's usually over by midnight, so if they
Yeah,
do
like-
like 6 hours, then,
It's fair.
right, they're coming in to decorate using it.
So that's what we're giving, a half day rental,
Yeah.
okay?
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, senior program coordinator report,
Here's the
active grant.
staff recommendation here. That council accept a quote from Global Industries to procure 80 Shell stacked plastic chairs in the amount of $6,940 plus applicable taxes and shipping. These are the same chairs that you see in the hall that were just recently procured, just procuring more.
And this was from the special, this is not from their, this is from the special grant that they got.
Yep.
And they had requested 12.5, but the actual amount that they got was 87.90, right?
I believe that's
Yeah.
correct, Marlene.
The grant, the amount that, I thought it was more than that. I thought 12.5 was just for the chairs and then there was
That
an
was just for the
additional-
chairs, yeah.
So the special grant, how that works, you put the application in, during your normal application for the funding year. And it's dependent on what kind of, how many, they have X number of dollars only, and then it depends on how many people apply for that grant, which determines how much money everybody gets allocated. So this year it was 87 and change that they ended up being approved for.
Right.
Yeah.
So the original request was 12.5 for 150, but now they got approved for 87.90, so they can do the 80 chairs instead. And the amount of the chairs is covered completely by the grant. Okay.
Okay. Senior, number 5, the senior report, Christmas social.
And staff recommendation that the township, council of the Township of Schreiber accept the quote from the Hungry Moose in the amount of $36.23 per plate. That's the price including gratuity.
Okay, at the very end, that's why I got lost on this one. On the very end, it's 4071.
That's because it has the HST included in it.
Okay.
And we just didn't include the HST in this circumstance because we do get a rebate, so just giving you a more accurate number of what it will turn out to be.
Okay. And the senior center, budget that they've presented for this event indicates that the expenses, the total amount of the expenses are completely covered between ticket money and available grant money. And that's correct.
Yeah, the finances need to be definitely addressed in that event plan. Some of the finances put on there are not accurate, so.
But the amount of the social could be covered out of the available money that's there.
That is a goal. We don't wanna
Okay.
go.
And there's also money, it says in here, the cost of the social will be supplemented with senior center, GL, and 2022 barbecue funds raised by members.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that the whole social is covered for the seniors.
Yep.
Perfect.
I mean, what we'll have to make sure again is that, we're not ending up, you know, paying a substantial amount that goes over what was budgeted here, so.
Right.
We'll be definitely reviewing that.
Yeah, and it's certainly, the budget looks like it's pretty complete.
Yep.
I just wanted to, just one more time, just to confirm that the revenue's there.
Then in the end, they will know how many people are attending.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put a closing date on ticket sales, so they'll have an accurate estimate of how many people are attending, so.
So in that case, they're just gonna order like enough
Yeah,
plates to cover the people that are gonna show up,
exactly,
so.
yeah.
Even if it's less, it's still covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay.
They went on the figure of 250, eh? That's
Yeah.
what they, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're using the rec.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
And they need volunteers to do dishes.
I saw that.
Okay. No,
Okay, number 6, fire chief report. Surplus and sale of the 2003 rescue truck.
And the recommendation here, that council authorize the sale of the 2003 Ford F-450 rescue truck via invited expressions of interest or listing it for sale with the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs used equipment webpage, and that money generated from the sale be placed into the truck reserve fund.
so we're gonna do both. We're gonna list it for sale with the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs and accept other expressions of interest?
Jen, did you wanna answer that?
Yes, I would go with the invited expressions of interest first. There's only 2 or 3 used fire truck dealers in Canada.
Right?
And if they're not interested, then I would list it for sale with other fire departments in Ontario through that webpage. Now, I expect there may be an expression of interest because there is one, Fort Garry Fire Trucks that expressed an interest in it and made an offer on it last year.
Last year.
And I've been in contact with them to tell them that it's possibly coming up.
And this 2003 now is surplus, right?
It is, yes.
Okay. Fire chief report, 1990 pumper replacement.
Here's a recommendation from the fire chief that council authorize the purchase of a used 2006 American LaFrance pumper truck from Dependable Truck of Brampton, Ontario at the cost of $95,000, and that the funds come from the fire department truck reserve fund, and that the 1990 Ford pumper be removed from second line duties and placed in the Rossport Fire Hall to cover the fire service agreement with the Rossport Service Board. So the written report there, it said, equipment reserve, it should be the truck reserve fund.
And that 1990, positioning that 1990 Ford pumper in Rossport, I mean, that will create revenue possibilities for revenue generation, having it stationed there, servicing Rossport?
It
Nationwide?
would. The 2003 rescue truck is there right now, and it
Yeah.
has the possibility of generating revenue. It's done that once or twice for us already.
Yeah,
Going from just what is essentially a rolling toolbox truck, which
Yeah.
is what's there now, to a truck with a pump and water on it that's more usable for, say, a highway fire,
yeah,
would indeed create more of a chance to bill it out.
yeah, so it's
And create
strategic as
revenue.
well.
It would be strategic as well, yeah.
But this 2006 LaFrance pumper, that's already a second pumper.
This would be see, we run a front line and a second line pumper.
Right.
This would be replacing the second line pumper.
So the 1990 then, you wouldn't consider it surplus?
Not at this point, no, because we'd still have a need to cover it with that contract down there. What I do have, why the recommendation is here is that, as you can see in the picture that's in the report, it's an open cab.
Right.
And it is extremely unpopular with the volunteers for them to get into that thing, put on a lap belt with an open cab, and drive down the highway.
Right.
In the winter. The pager goes off, and almost none of them show up, I'll be honest, they don't like
Okay.
it. So that's why the need to move it to a location where it's not going to be used in that type of call.
Okay.
So a highway call comes that's near Rossport, you're still taking the main pumper, you're not jumping in this one then, right?
Well, no, because we've only got 2 volunteers down there right
Right,
now.
okay.
So yeah, we would go with the highway pumper from here, which would be this 2006 that we're
That-
proposing here. Generally, what would happen is if we needed that truck, we would drop some volunteers off using the department pickup truck.
Okay, yeah.
And they would use it as a water tank, so there'd only be maybe one person driving it. And then, at that point, that truck would generate revenue, because it would be billable, to the MTO.
Yeah.
For usage.
And Jen, because the fire department down in Rossport is logistically dissolved,
Yeah.
who's paying for the heat to keep, because there's water in this truck, in that building?
Yeah, the water is turned off in the building actually right now, and so is the heat in the Rossport Fire Hall. So right now, we're in negotiations also to bring Nickel Island into the Rossport contract. The Rossport contract will be due again next year. At which point, if they sign on, part of that contract would be that Rossport and Nickel Island pay for the heat in that building out of their own pocket. And then at that point, the heat would go back on and that. So what we've got right now we've got a truck down there with no water.
Right.
So this would put a truck down there with water, but I can drain the water out of the tanks and the pump and run it cold. And that's what we do with several of the trucks in the winter already. So placing one or other of either the 2 that are proposed here, like either the 84 or the 90 down there, I would just drain the water out of them.
Right.
And then I backfill them with plumber's antifreeze, and they're not affected by the cold.
Right. So there would not be, this truck would not be stored with water in that building if there was no heat?
That's right. Yeah, only, water would only go in it either in the summer or when they sign the agreement to turn the heat on.
Is this something you'd be willing to look at, let's say, in another year? If that pumper never gets used in the next 12 months, then at that point, would you consider it surplus? I ask a lot of questions, sorry.
That's a hard call, because if we were to not use it and then consider it surplus, then we've got nothing to cover the agreement with, which at that point eliminates that revenue stream because we can't fulfill the contract.
Okay.
So it's, if we stop, then we've got nothing to cover it with, so.
So part of that agreement is like providing a vehicle down there?
Yeah, what, in the agreement, they cover the insurance cost, the annual, safety inspection cost,
Oh.
the cost of, all the air packs that are on it, the annual testing of all that equipment. That's actually part of that contract and part of Rossport's fee.
So then that relieves us of some of that burden.
Oh, yeah, we're not paying
Okay.
on that truck
Paying for
down
it.
there
It's
at
good
all.
to know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
That's kind of an expansion of your services, municipal services, providing service to Rossport, Pace Plat.
And it helps
highway
cover our
calls.
highway zone
Yeah.
there too. And the other benefit to that is, I can recruit from that area now too,
Okay,
which helps with the volunteer base.
so there's another bonus.
There is another bonus.
Okay.
Like I said, we've got 2 volunteers down there now.
Okay, so we're okay with that recommendation. I'm sorry, we're okay with the previous recommendation too?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay, number 8, the Roma 2023 Roma Annual General Conference meeting.
Well, the deadline for delegation requests is fast approaching towards the end of November, so, at this stage, you don't have to confirm anything. We are meeting again next week, so, if you think of something, new in terms of what you want for delegation, certainly, you can bring that forward. What I do need to do though is I need to put forward a, briefing note, so to speak, send out all the information to the ministries and basically convey what we want to talk about, and based on what I send them, right, they will choose whether they want to meet with us or not, and typically they do take the trouble to meet with us. What we've done in the past was we've met with the Minister of Energy for just business related to Oxford Power. That's a pump storage project that is being proposed by Oxford Power. So we've taken opportunities to allow this investor in order to meet with ministers to move this project forward. Other delegations that we've done includes the dechlorination project, and we need to get approximately $1 million in order to cover the expenses of upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant in order to put in a UV dechlorination system. So that's something where we've been looking again for funding. It's and again, you want to get the right amount of funding that will cover it to $1 million.
And what ministry is, again, is
Would
that?
that be infrastructure?
Ministry of
Ministry of Infrastructure. We have reached out to the Ministry of Environment again over the regulations, but the difficulty here is it's actually the federal Ministry of Environment that has put these WSER regulations. Where we've reached out is, to state even though it is the federal ministry, we still need the help from the provincial ministries in order to lobby for money for us to cover this expense. So they've heard us discuss this every year, so I'm sure it won't be a surprise seeing it again.
And is it expected, and maybe Dan and Dave would know better than I would, to put a delegation for housing?
That's something we did before as well.
Yeah, we used to do that often when the first assessments came out with impact, to complain to them about the taxation issues we have here and stuff like that. That was that was a long time ago.
And we're allowed how many delegations? Two delegations?
You can request as many as
Yeah.
you want. My recommendation is, you want to be, again, concise and relevant and
Focused.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
bring
housing
about your
would be-
biggest issues. I think if you just do a shotgun approach and just bring all your issues
Yeah.
there, the whole point is you want to communicate, we are Schreiber, we're from here, and this is our biggest problems,
Yeah.
Pick one or two.
I mean, housing wouldn't be bad if they're gonna give you an answer, if impact's gonna give out the new assessments, but I don't know if they can even give you that answer, to be honest.
And we have a unique sort of housing
Yeah.
issue where the provincial approach, right, is now looking at, they're trying to cut red tape to make housing affordable in
Mhm.
southern Ontario. Our issue is that our housing is relatively affordable here. So affordable that, people aren't getting their, investment value back if they build new housing. So it's proving to be very difficult for, new home builders. They're looking at options from prefabs, but it's still not coming in, cheap enough,
To make it attractive enough.
Yeah, Or
Exactly.
you build a $200,000 home and then you're paying 10 grand in taxes, and that's
Yeah.
not very attractive
Yeah.
either.
Last I discussed, they're saying it would cost around 400,000 to build a traditional
Yeah.
home, right, with a basement and everything, and they can then only sell it for 200.
And you're paying
Then you're paying
taxes.
huge taxes.
So it's a unique issue. I don't know, in terms of, it is something that we could bring to the attention of the
It's just
province,
tough.
because maybe it's a program that they work to
Yeah.
develop for communities that
Yeah.
are in this sort of situation, right?
Yeah.
The historical approach has been, major industries that, are within the towns that built housing infrastructure and all, but, it's a different age, a different day.
Yeah, it never hurts
You've
to ask
seen
the
even,
questions.
if you've even seen with, new mining outfits, right, everything is now gonna be just a camp, they're not gonna build a town
Yeah.
to attract workers there anymore, so.
Okay.
Anyway, so think
Very
about,
good.
what you may want, and let me know by next week.
That's good.
I would think that, the incumbents would have a better feel about where our focus should be. You've got the experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have that, yeah.
You have a better idea, I think, yeah.
Definitely gotta
Unless
talk.
you have something, Benji?
But definitely gotta talk housing. I totally agree with that, what Nathan has said. I was thinking of, I know there's money out there for gathering spots too, coming out of COVID. That's kind of what we're trying to do in one area of town like that. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but we can kick it around next meeting, for sure. Okay, so that's it for the open part, so we're moving into closed. Resolution 311-22, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, the next portion of this meeting be closed to the public to discuss the educating or training of members of the council, local board, or committee. All those in favor? Carried.